Hello my fellow knot tiers and welcome to this episode of beautiful but not so useful knots. And that's a knot that's purely decorational. Now you could put it on your Zenith frame as decoration, or maybe make a larger one, frame it, or otherwise just for fun. And that is a Tudor rose knot. Now I saw this knot when years ago I read Old Nothing Matters, I think it was number 43, where Stuart Grainger had instructions for this knot. And at the time I thought it was too challenging for me, I couldn't really follow the instructions, so I left it. But now I've been reading Old Nothing Matters again, and I came across the same knot, so I thought that this time I will give it a go, and it wasn't too bad. The knots themselves in this Tudor rose knot are quite simple, but it's how they are constructed together and how to keep everything together nicely and adjust the tension. That's a bit of a challenging. After a few tries, I also made a version in cheap polyester rope, and took a challenge of making it in real colors with yellow, red, white and green, so that it would look like the real Tudor rose. But for this tutorial I'll be using white linen, just that it's easier to see how to tie. With different colors I would have lots of strands hanging out everywhere, so it's easier to see how to tie it with this one. So let's take a look how it's tied. Now what I have here is 5 pieces of about 2 feet cords. It's about 4 mil linen. I choose linen because it's quite stiff. You want to have quite stiff cord for this knot. It's a challenge of how to tighten the knot and how to adjust the tension. So first we start with the star knot. And this is the way I do star knot. If you're left-handed, you might want to do it the other way around. Since I'm right-handed, I do it counterclockwise. Over. You just create hitches so that the next cord comes through the hitch. And the last one comes through the hitch here. So that's our start for star knot. Now you want to make the star knot quite snug, not too tight, since we are going to have several passes there. But quite snug so it holds the form well. Okay, and then we'll do a crown clockwise. For the next one. Over the next one. Over the next one. The last last one goes through the loop of the first. And that's our crown in reverse. Okay. Then the next step, take cord and go back on top of that hitch and follow inside the crown and through the loop there. Be careful that this loop comes on top of that. And the next one. Round, following inside crown here and through the loop. Now this is our last one. Crown here. Under those two. And through both loops here. And placing that on top. So be careful with the loops that they stay on top of each other. Okay, now it's time to pair it up a bit. So we want to make this fairly tight, but not too tight. So that everything is quite snug. So now we turn the knot around and take each strand comes out here, follow inside the strand over two and out through the middle of the knot. Following inside, coming out in the middle. Two, and out through the middle. And that completes our star knot. Then we start tying the addition to make this a Tudor rose knot. So first we tie a wall against the clock. Three, four, and the fifth one goes up through the loop of the first one. Up a bit. That's our wall. And this you may tighten. After this you can't tighten the star knot anymore, so it needs to be ready at this point. The idea is that the wall here will sink in the middle of the star. Then we tie a crown on top of the wall, also anti-clockwise. over, 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 and the last one goes to the loop of the first one. And that also needs to be tight. So far, it's quite simple. Just be careful with your tension. The star gets more and more tension here while we work. Then we take each strand, lead them out from the star knot under these two and between the hitches here. Between these hitches and under those two. Take the nearest strand. Pull it out. Okay, the next one. Between hitches here and under the crown. And you see the crown sinks in the middle of the star knot. So the crown, it goes inside the star here. And our strands comes out in the middle of the hitches. Okay, now in next step, tie a new crown that will be on the outside of the star knot. This is the tricky part, to hold everything in place. Now next we will tie another crown. So we'll get the double crown, so to speak, by going over the next one through the loop and in front of that strand. Now this is a bit tricky to hold everything in place, so it helps if you have quite stiff cord. And the last one goes through both here. And that creates a nice cable-like structure around star knot. We need to pull this a bit tighter. Then the next tuck will hold everything in place. So then we take each strand and go through the second hitch here. Going outside the knot again. Each strand in turn. Between the hitches out from the outside in. And the last one. So now everything starts to hold in place, and then just carefully tighten that, not too tight, just enough to keep everything snugly in place. This is a good test on how to handle the tension so that you are not tightening too much. That's about the look that I want. Okay, next step. We'll tie cow hitches, or maybe you know it by the name of lark's head, between these 2 points here. Between the star knot and the double crown. Back up. That's just a simple cow hitch. So here, between the star and the crowns, and between those 2 points. Back from the same hole and through itself. And then we tuck the ends just close to the stem. And then we cut the ends, and that should complete our Tudor rose knot. See? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our Tudor rose knot.